Okay, so this unit is definitely your introductory to geometry. So if you don't like it, that's too bad. You're going to suffer through geometry. I don't know how else to put that. So, and you do use this later on in geometry as well as algebra 2. So given the graphs below, what do you notice? What do you wonder? They are parallel, okay? What do you notice about the equations? They have the same slope or rate of change, right? That 3x, okay? All right, cool. What about this one? What do you notice about this one? So the last one was parallel. What is this one going to be called? Close. We're going to call this one perpendicular. Okay. It creates a right angle. Okay. Now look at the slopes on this one. What do you notice? It creates a 90-degree angle, but what about the slope? It's a fraction. Say again. So one's positive, one's negative. We see that. What if we flipped 3? What would we get? Like if we flipped 3, we'd get what? What number? So 3 over 1, if we flipped it, what will we get? 1 over 3, right? So these are negative reciprocals of each other. I would write this down. Negative reciprocals. reciprocals. Negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, so perpendicular, they're going to be negative reciprocals. All right. So we got parallel is the same slope, and perpendicular is going to be negative reciprocals. Okay, so this page kind of summarizes that. So create an equation for a line that is parallel or perpendicular to the given line. So same slopes, but different y-intercepts. So if I were to create an equation for a parallel line, what would I write? Something that's parallel to these two. I would say y equals, and then what? 3x, and then plus, pick a number. Plus 5, boom. That's parallel because they have the same slope. Okay. On the next one, the perpendicular lines. If I'm making something perpendicular to this line, I would have a negative reciprocal and then plus some random number. Everybody okay on that? If you can get this down, then you at least get 2 of the questions on your SAT right, because they always ask these kind of questions. Okay. Oop, too far. All right, so line M and point P are shown in the graph to the left. Write an equation that is parallel to the line M and passes through the point P. Okay, so this is where your prior knowledge really kind of comes in. So we've got a couple different options. We've got y equals mx plus b. And then we also have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this is called point slope. And this is called slope intercept. I would write those 2 equations down. Thanks. Okay, so we have slope intercept and we have point slope. So depending on the information that they give us, we can write an equation. Did they give us the y-intercept for our point? No, our point is all the way over here. So what we want to do is write an equation that's parallel. That means that it has to have the same slope as this line. So how do we find this slope? How do we find this slope? So remember, we read left to right. So we're going to go up to and over 1, right? Up to over 1. So that has a slope of 2. Rise over run. And then we're going to use this point down here. So we have a point and we have our slope. So which equation are we going to use? Not slope intercept. We have a point and we have slope. Which one are we going to use? Point slope form, okay? So we're going to plug in. We have a point 3 comma -2, and then we have a slope of 2. So we're going to substitute it in here. Let me do a different color. Yeah. We have y minus -2, so that's going to make it a plus. Our slope is 2, then x minus 3. So I plugged in for x1 and y1 this point. Now, most of the time, your answer choices are going to be written in y equals mx plus b form. So what we got to do now is distribute. That'll make that 2x minus 6 on the right. And then we're going to move that 2 to the other side. So y is going to equal 2x minus 8. This is parallel because it has the same slope. So this says, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Identify the slope and the y-intercept. So again, back to our equation, we're trying to write this equation into y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we're going to move the x to the other side and get the y by itself. Okay, so how we do that is we add the 2x to the other side. And then we want the y by itself. So we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. And that's going to give me y equals 2/3 x minus 4/3. Can you write the line that is parallel that passes through the point 1 comma 3 and uses the slope 2/3? Can you write that equation? Okay, so if I plug this in, this is my x1, this is my y1. So it's going to be y minus 3 equals 2/3 times x minus 1. Okay, now again, most of your answer choice is going to be written in y equals mx plus b. So we're going to distribute. And that's going to give me 2/3 x minus 2/3. And then we're going to add 3 to the other side. Now, I know nobody likes adding fractions, blah, 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 blah. You got it. So y equals 2/3 x. And when you do -2/3 plus 3 in your calculator, what do you got? What? So you should get like 2 1/3 if you want to do it as a mixed fraction. Or yeah, -2/3 plus 3. 7/3. Okay. Most of the time it's going to be written like this improper fraction, but you could write it as a mixed number if you want to. Okay. Questions on that? They will give you the point slope form, but you got to know what to do with it. Okay. All right. So now we're going to take this and we're going to write this one into y equals mx plus b form. Okay. So we've got 2x minus y equals 4. Okay. Try to get this into y equals mx plus b. So you're trying to get y by itself and move everything else to the other side. Take a moment. Try. Okay. So you should move that 2x to the other side. I know that was quick. And so that gives me -y equals -2x plus 4. We're going to divide everything by -1. When we do that, we're going to get y equals 2x minus 4. Okay? You got to be pretty comfortable with putting this into y equals mx plus b. Okay? Now, we're going to write one that is perpendicular. That means that it's going to have a negative reciprocal. Okay, so we're still going to use point slope form. Okay. But instead of using 2 as our slope is now going to be -1/2. The reason why it's -1/2 is when we do perpendicular, we're going to flip the fraction or flip the number and then make it the opposite sign. Okay. Now, can you plug in x1 and y1 into that equation? Okay. See if you can put that in y equals mx plus b form. So you should have gotten y equals -1/2 x minus 1. Yeah. Okay. Biggest thing is when you're multiplying fractions, don't be scared of it. Just use your calculator. Okay. Most of the time, your answer choices are going to be in fraction form. They're not going to be in decimal form. So just a heads up. Questions on this? Okay. There's one of these on your EOC. There's at least 2, I think, on your final. Okay. You good on this? Getting some blank stares, making me nervous. Huh? Would you get +3? Here? Because in the equation, it's already negative, and then this guy's negative. So when we plug in that -3 into here, that's why it makes that positive. Yeah. All right, try this one. Okay. They already put it into y equals mx plus b form, and you're writing the equation of a line that's parallel to this guy. Okay, so go ahead and take a moment. Try that one. Okay, before you get too far into it, what are the first 2 ones that we can eliminate? A and B, why? Right, so it's not parallel. Everybody see that? So now you're down to C and D. Then if you use your point slope form, oh, whoops, that's in. Then you're going to plug in and then simplify. So that should have been C. Is that what you got? I hope so. Now, you could also like graph these and see which one passes through 2, -1. That's pretty easy too. Okay. Okay, go ahead and take a moment. You got the pass the problem worksheet. I want you to do the front and the back. If you want to work with a partner, you can. If you want to do it by yourself, that's okay too. But what you're going to do is with 3 people, one person's going to do partner A, then you pass it to partner B, and then you pass it to partner C, and then there's a front and a back. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. It should go fairly quickly. When you graph, I would use your graphing calculator because you can use it on the EOC and you can use it on your test. Okay, so front and back, you're working with your partners. Okay, go ahead and get started on that. These, because I think that'd be good. Okay, so you rewrote this into y equals mx plus b form, right? Okay, life together. Okay, so we move the 4x to the other side, and then we divide by -16. Okay, so this is going to give me 1/4x plus 1. Everybody good on that? Now, if I do a parallel line, then I'm going to do y minus 4 equals 1/4 times x minus, oh, JK. Y plus 2 equals 1/4 x minus 4. You're going to distribute all that junk and then move the 2 to the other side. So then you should have gotten y equals 1/4 x minus 1 minus 3. Is that what you got? Okay, I did that quickly, so I don't know. All right, now perpendicular. I had a lot of questions on this. If I flip this fraction and make it the opposite sign, then it's going to be, okay, y, and it said for the original equation. Okay, original equation was this guy. Yeah. So it would be y equals negative 4x plus 1. Cool. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, when you graph from this one and this one, what you should have gotten is something like this. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the equation for that line. This is the partner A. And then you got to graph this one. So this is going to be here. 4, down, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's the parallel one. The perpendicular is going to be here, down 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. Okay, so notice how that creates that 90-degree angle, right? We got on this. Yes, no, maybe. So in this game, your job is to rearrange a set of gray circles in a square playing field in such a way that the red circles all lie exactly halfway between the two gray dots. Okay, so you got to move the red dots. I'm sorry, you should rearrange a set of gray circles in a square in such a way that the red circles all lie exactly halfway between the two gray dots. Okay, so take a moment, try that one. Read it again if you don't. Okay, midpoint formula. So here's another formula that you're going to use. So I would write this one down. x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Basically, you're going to take your x values, add them, and divide by 2. Take your y values, add them up, and divide by 2. So midpoint formula is exactly what it sounds like. You're finding the middle points between 2 points. Okay? You need this for geometry. This one does not go away. You need this to prove squares, triangles, all this quadrilateral stuff that you're going to talk about in geometry. You need this part. Okay? So if you learn nothing else, get this one. Okay? All right. So we're going to do this kind of together. Let me get back because I didn't give you this worksheet, I don't think. All right, so let me pause for a second. Okay. So use the graph to show how to find the midpoint of a segment AB. Okay, so from here to here, okay, where is the middle point? Where does it look like it's the middle? Like somewhere in here? Yeah? Okay, now the way we actually find it is we use that formula. So we've got our 2 points. We've got -3, 3, and then we have 5, -2. So we're going to label this one as x1, y1, and this one's going to be x2, y2. Okay, if you flip-flop those, that's okay. Now, we're going to add our x's together and divide by 2. So -3 plus 5 divided by 2. And then we're going to add 3 plus -2 and then divide by 2. Notice how I put these in parentheses because it is a point. It is a location. I don't know if Desmond will actually do this for you if you typed it in that way. But you can type this part in. So -3 plus 5. That gives us 2. 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. And then 3 plus -2 is 1. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. So the midpoint is 1, 1/2 right here. So sometimes you can see it on a graph pretty easy. Other times you might have to use the formula. I personally use the formula every single time because if it's a decimal, I'm not sure. Okay. Can you try? And this is just the explanation for why it works and that kind of thing. We've already talked about it. Can you try this one? Okay, so you're taking these 2 points, plugging it in. plug it into your formula, and then like, that's it. Okay, so you should have done 4 plus 8 divided by 2, and then negative 7 plus 9 divided by 2. Okay, 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Negative 7 plus 9 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I got 6 comma 1. So what you got? Okay, and you can always check these in Desmos by plotting these points, typing them in exactly how you see it, and then plotting this point. Cool? All right, let's do one more check really quick. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you a sticky. Remember the formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. You can't do anything. Great. Okay. And then y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Yes, you'll be given that formula, but it's easy to memorize. This will be x1, y1. This will be x2, y2. Why? Because it's listed first and then it's listed second. So you add them together and then divide by 2. Add them together and then divide by 2. So 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Negative 3 minus 11 is negative 14. Negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 6. So majority of y'all got that. If you struggle with it or you add it wrong, it's okay. So let's get a little bit of practice on this stuff, as well as the parallel perpendicular stuff. So hang on.